You know what? We had it in the 1920s. We had it in the 1890s. They always pick on the farmers, but my next guest says patriot farmers support tariffs despite that pain. Joining me now, Republican Senator from Kansas and member of the Senate Agriculture and Budget Committees, Roger Marshall. Senator Marshall, farmers, they make so many sacrifices for us, right? And you say they're looking and willing to make more.
You're right, Charles. First and foremost, my farmers and ranchers are patriots. There's not a county in Kansas that has not been impacted by fentanyl poisoning, and that's why they're going to willing to stand beside President Trump and secure our borders that Canada and Mexico can do more than just that. Beyond that, though, there's so many more levers that President Trump can pull. We've been through this with him before. In Trump 1.0, he did these tariffs on China, and like he just said, he went out and gave us $28 billion of those tariffs, but then he gave us China phase one, record sales in the commodities as well. And then he went on in that presidency and he gave us trade agreements, really good trade agreements for agriculture with Mexico, with Canada, with South Korea and Japan. Those opportunities are setting out there. And lastly, the other two levers he can pull, if he gives us year-round E15, that could replace 2/3 of our export market for corn. And lastly, he can give us the certainty of a 5-year farm bill. So there's other things he can do besides just the tariffs. Don't look at the tariffs in and of themselves.
Also, I saw your statement and your overall thoughts on the speech. Of course, it focused on the renewal of the American dream. And I want to get more of your thoughts about what we heard and saw last night.
Yeah, I think the president has given us hope. For the first time in 5 years since I found out what COVID was and Joe Biden became president, for the first time America has hope again. We're bullish on America, that we can leave this world better than we found it, that we can go to places that we never thought we could go to, not just going to Mars. There's so many more things. Instead of our country contracting, let's talk about Panama. Let's talk about Greenland and those opportunities as well. So I think we walked out of there excited, disappointed that my colleagues across the aisle couldn't stand. They couldn't stand for the First Lady. They couldn't stand for a young boy that had survived brain cancer and was deputized into the Secret Service, and the other families as well. Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah, that was so frustrating. I know Elon met with senators today. There was a setback at the Supreme Court. Will that slow you down at all?
Not a bit. I told Elon today he's not going fast enough, and I think I got a little laugh at him. I've got to know Elon a little bit better over the last 4 or 5 years. I think first thing I want to let Americans know is he's a patriot now, too. That's kind of my theme of the day. He's a patriot, that he's all in. He's doing a great job. The big misconception I think people see out there is that Elon is not in there doing the work. He's an advisor. There are DOJ employees, went through the federal government employment process like everybody else. And they're just in there shining a flashlight on the fraud, waste, abuse, and incompetence. He's handing that over. They are then handing that over to the agencies and hope they implement it. Sure, he's going to talk about those conversations with President Trump as well. But he's just, as he says, he's just compiling texts and directing people where they go. He's had a great success in the past. I think there's an opportunity to curb 10, 15, 20% of this federal government. And you want to know what would really help our farmers is for the federal government to stop borrowing money and get our interest rates down. That's what would really help my farmers.
And by the way, I want to give you a shout out for another hat that you wear on agriculture and nutrition. This morning, Campbell's Soup came out with their earnings report. It was a pretty good report, except one part. Snacks were down. And I think that's what we're looking at, right? Make America healthy again. You're at the center of that as well. Senator Marshall, great work, great stuff. We hope to have you back on real soon.
Thanks, Charles.
All right, see you soon.